the silence of the courtroom, the heavy weight of accusation, and now the relentless pressure of a defense attorney on the attack. If you thought we had already heard the most shocking revelations from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, prepare yourselves. Because when key witnesses return to the stand for cross-examination, the battle for truth and for the narrative truly begins. What happens when a witness who has laid bare years of alleged abuse and control is confronted by a team whose sole purpose is to pick apart every single word? What new angles, what unexpected personal details are dragged into the light when their credibility is put to the ultimate test? And how does a defense team attempt to flip a powerful emotional testimony on its head, suggesting motives and interpretations that defy what we've already heard? Today, the spotlight returned to Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former marketing director and personal assistant, a woman whose previous testimony tore open the curtain on alleged death threats, terrifying lie detector tests, and shocking incidents involving Kid Cudi and Cassie Ventura. Her voice, which once quivered with raw emotion, was now met with the sharp, methodical questions of defense attorney Mark Agnifilo. This wasn't just another day in court. It was a high-stakes chess match played out before a jury where every word, every memory was scrutinized under a microscope. From the very start, Agnifilo aimed to shake the foundations of Clark's narrative. He began by confirming a crucial meeting that took place in April 2024, where Clark, accompanied by her own high-profile attorney, Brian Friedman, sat down with Diddy's legal team. And then, the bombshell question, Agnifilo suggested that during that meeting, Capricorn Clark herself stated that Diddy wouldn't be in this mess if he had kept her around. Imagine that. A witness whose testimony is damaging to Diddy, allegedly suggesting that her presence could have prevented this entire legal nightmare. Was she simply frustrated? Or did this hint at a deeper, unspoken desire to still be part of his world, perhaps as his chief of staff, as was allegedly discussed? And what does this reveal about the complex, often twisted, loyalty dynamics that can exist within such powerful orbits? But the defense wasn't done probing. Agnifilo also suggested that Clark told Diddy's lawyers something else equally provocative in that meeting, that Cassie Ventura wasn't good for Combs. This is a witness who previously detailed alleged horrific abuse against Cassie, yet here she is allegedly making a statement that could seem to minimize Cassie's role or even shift blame. What was the context of this statement? Was it a genuine observation about a troubled relationship, or was the defense trying to create a narrative that suggested a different motive behind Clark's testimony? The implications are massive, and the answers, as you'll see, are far from simple. And then came perhaps one of the most surprising twists of the entire cross-examination, a text message from Capricorn Clark to Diddy in June 2021, where she allegedly confessed, "Did you ever know that I had the biggest crush on you before I started to work for you?" She added, "We hung out all the time, I played it super cool. I just knew for sure that you liked to have me around." This revelation, years after her employment ended, throws an entirely new, deeply personal layer onto her relationship with the mogul. Was this a genuine confession of past feelings? Was it an attempt to reconnect? Or was it something else entirely? What does this text message from years after the alleged terrifying incidents suggest about the nature of their relationship and her motives for testifying? The courtroom was left buzzing, and the answer, or lack thereof, is something you'll need to see to believe. The defense also pushed hard on Clark's relationship with Cassie Ventura, a bond that Clark herself testified had been forcefully changed by Diddy. But Agnifilo brought up cracks in their friendship even earlier, around 2008, suggesting Cassie got a little bit more bravado as being his girlfriend. Was this a natural shift, or was there an underlying tension between Clark and Cassie that the defense is trying to exploit? And how does Clark's opinion that Cassie had talent, but her live performances weren't great, or that her drug use was preventing her from opportunities play into the defense's strategy? This line of questioning attempts to sow doubt, to suggest that personal grievances, rather than pure fact, might be influencing Clark's detailed accounts. Remember the terrifying account of Diddy allegedly showing up at Clark's home with a gun in December 2011, demanding she go with him to Kid Cudi's house? The defense honed in on every single detail, attempting to poke holes in her story. Agnifilo suggested that Clark told a Homeland Security agent that a building security guard was with Diddy at her door that morning. Clark vehemently denied this on the stand, maintaining she was alone with Diddy, that he demanded the guard let him in, and that the guard was fired soon after. This is more than a minor detail. It's a direct challenge to the accuracy of her most explosive claims. The defense further pushed the narrative that Clark voluntarily went with Diddy to Kid Cudi's house, perhaps because she didn't want him to do something stupid due to his jealousy. Clark, however, maintained firmly, "I went because he told me that he didn't care that I didn't want to go," describing Diddy's demeanor as a very bad temper, not merely jealousy, and the call to Cassie Ventura from outside Kid Cudi's house. The defense challenged whether Clark actually told Cassie and Cudi about the gun. Clark insisted she did, speaking quickly, desperately. She even revealed she made a quick call to Lauren London for protection before calling Cassie, stating she just needed somebody to know where I was in case this all went really bad. These are the granular details that can either solidify or undermine a witness's credibility, and the defense is leaving no stone unturned. The cross-examination of Capricorn Clark has unveiled new, intricate layers to her testimony, presenting challenges and unexpected personal revelations. The defense team, with its sharp questions, is clearly attempting to reshape the narrative, suggesting alternative motives or casting doubt on the absolute certainty of her memories. As the trial progresses and the prosecution prepares for redirect examination, how will these new details impact the jury's perception of Clark, and what further truths or counter-truths will emerge as this high-stakes legal battle unfolds? The answers to these questions, and much more, are waiting. The courtroom lights were blazing, and all eyes were on Capricorn Clark as she returned to the witness stand after a short break. The jury settled in, and the air immediately thickened with tension. This wasn't just about what Clark had said before. It was about how well her story would hold up when picked apart by a defense team determined to find every possible crack. And leading that charge was defense attorney Mark Agnifilo, a man known for his sharp questions and relentless pursuit of doubt. Agnifilo wasted no time, immediately diving into a meeting that took place on April 10, 2024, a little over a year before this trial in 2025. He confirmed that Capricorn Clark, along with her own well-known entertainment lawyer, Brian Friedman, and a friend, met with Diddy's legal team, Agnifilo himself, Tenny Garagos, and Jonathan Davis. This wasn't just a casual chat. It was a significant pre-trial encounter that the defense clearly intended to use against Clark's current testimony. Then came the direct challenge that echoed through the courtroom. Agnifilo asked Clark if she had told Diddy's lawyers at that meeting that Combs wouldn't be in this mess if he had kept her around. Clark acknowledged that she probably said something like that. This stunning admission came as they were discussing the very real possibility of her returning to work. For Diddy as his chief of staff, think about that for a moment. A witness, now testifying against him with chilling claims, was seemingly open to returning to his inner circle, even suggesting she could have prevented his current troubles. It immediately raises questions for the jury about her true feelings and motivations. Was it loyalty, a desire for a powerful position, or a complex mix of emotions? Agnifilo pressed further on that April 2024 meeting, revealing another eyebrow-raising statement from Clark. He suggested she told the lawyers that Cassie Ventura wasn't good for Combs. This is a significant point, especially after Clark's powerful testimony about Diddy's alleged violence towards Cassie. The defense seemed to be trying to imply a potential resentment or bias from Clark against Cassie, attempting to cast a different light on her previous, damning accusations. When asked if she remembered being told it would be impossible to hire her back due to the ongoing criminal investigation, Clark simply stated she didn't remember that being said. The defense was clearly trying to paint a picture of a witness who perhaps had an agenda or unfulfilled desires. The cross-examination then delved into Clark's personal relationship with Diddy, going back to when they first met around 2002 through a mutual friend. Clark firmly stated that their relationship was 1,000% platonic. However, she did testify that she saw Diddy taking ecstasy in the early stages of their friendship and that his drug use reportedly increased over time. Then came the truly surprising revelation, a text message from Clark to Diddy in June 2021. Agnifilo read it aloud. Did you ever know that I had the biggest crush on you before I started to work for you? Clark admitted sending it, adding, "We hung out all the time. I played it super cool. I just knew for sure that you liked to have me around." While she said she didn't remember sending the text, she recalled reaching out to him that year. The defense left it hanging in the air without revealing Diddy's response. This personal confession, sent years after the alleged abuse and her firing, offers a complex, almost contradictory layer to Clark's story, potentially suggesting a past romantic interest that could influence her current feelings or testimony. It's a move by the defense to humanize and perhaps complicate the witness's motivations. Agnifilo then turned his attention to Clark's relationship with Cassie Ventura, a bond Clark previously testified was strained by Diddy's control. But the defense suggested a different tension. Clark testified that she and Cassie started to have issues around 2008, when Cassie got a little bit more bravado as being his girlfriend the longer it lasted. She described Cassie's transformation from a sweet model to a feisty girlfriend. This line of questioning aimed to highlight any friction that might have existed between the two women independent of Diddy, perhaps suggesting a more complex dynamic than previously presented. Agnifilo also questioned Clark about Cassie's talent. While Clark responded, "I think she had talent," she quickly added that Cassie's live performances weren't great. Even more critically, when Clark returned to work for Cassie in 2016, she stated that Cassie's drug use was preventing her from the opportunities that were before us. These observations, while not directly related to Diddy's alleged actions, could be used by the defense to suggest other factors influencing Cassie's career or Clark's perspective on her. In a move that seemed to counter the idea of Cassie being controlled or held back, Clark testified that Diddy actually gave Cassie more resources than other artists at Bad Boy. He ensured she had access to top-tier professionals, producers, choreographers, stylists, to create stars. Clark stated, "From my point of view, the lion's share of Bad Boy was on Cassie in that first block of time," referring to 2007-2010. She even believed Cassie continued to receive support even when Diddy's focus shifted to new artists like Machine Gun Kelly and French Montana around 2012, and even when Diddy took a step back around 2016-17. This part of the testimony aims to show Diddy as a supportive, investing mentor, not just an alleged abuser. The defense also addressed a very specific and somewhat unusual detail: Cassie's neon yellow hair for the 2016 MTV Video Music Awards. Agnifilo explicitly asked Clark to confirm that Cassie wasn't forced to dye her hair, and Clark confirmed that Cassie was on board with the look and had a say in the decision. Clark had presented the idea, Cassie liked it, and only then was Diddy informed. This seemingly minor detail attempts to show that Cassie had autonomy, at least in some aspects of her career, challenging the image of total control. The defense systematically attacked Clark's detailed account of the terrifying December 2011 incident involving Kid Cudi. Clark testified she first learned Cassie and Cudi were getting to know each other around Thanksgiving 2011, and that she picked Cassie up from Cudi's home about a week before the alleged kidnapping, knowing Cassie was still in a relationship with Diddy at the time. This timeline set the stage for the defense to challenge the details of the subsequent confrontation. A key point of contention was who was with Diddy when he allegedly showed up at Clark's door with a gun. Agnifilo suggested Clark told a Homeland Security agent that a building security guard was with Diddy. Clark repeatedly and firmly denied this on the stand, maintaining Diddy was alone and that he demanded the guard let him in, leading to that guard being fired soon after. This is a direct contradiction that the jury must weigh. The defense then tried to suggest that Clark voluntarily went with Diddy to Kid Cudi's house, perhaps to prevent him from doing something stupid, because he's a jealous guy. Clark adamantly denied this, stating, "I went because he told me that he didn't care that I didn't want to go." She corrected the defense, saying she wouldn't use the word jealous, but rather that Diddy has a very bad temper. This distinction is crucial as it speaks to coercion rather than a protective instinct. Agnifilo also questioned how Diddy and his security guard got through the gate at Kid Cudi's property. Clark admitted she wasn't sure, as their backs were to her, and she was more focused on praying that Cudi wasn't inside. This small detail, while seemingly minor, could be used by the defense to highlight any gaps in her memory or observation. One of the most critical parts of the defense's challenge focused on Clark's phone call to Cassie Ventura and Kid Cudi from outside Cudi's house. Agnifilo repeatedly pressed Clark on whether she explicitly told them Diddy had a gun. Clark insisted she did, speaking very quickly to avoid Diddy seeing her on the phone. "I said, Puff came to my house with a gun. We came to Cudi's house to kill him." And then I heard, "They're in my house." She testified Cassie had the call on speaker so Cudi could hear. In a new revelation, Clark also testified she called Lauren London for about 30 seconds for her own protection, before she called Cassie Ventura that night. Choking up, she explained, "She was like my sister at the time, and I just wanted somebody to know where I was. If he did get killed, I just needed somebody to know where I was in case this all went really bad." She wasn't sure if it was a separate call or a three-way call with Cassie. This desperate act underscores the extreme fear she felt and provides another witness who could potentially corroborate parts of her story. Clark also recounted Diddy checking her phone and calling Cassie from it, only for the call to be cut off when Cudi's car approached, leading to the chase. As cross-examination wrapped up, Clark broke into sobs looking at emails she sent Diddy in 2014 and 2015, pleading for his forgiveness. She explained that she believed her 2012 firing, officially for a vacation, was actually because Diddy was angry about her knowledge of Cassie's relationship with Kid Cudi. She felt she was a protector for Diddy, and that he had no one looking out for him without her. "That email is me pleading like, dude, let it go," she cried. She was hurt, believing Cassie wanted her fired, and it bothered her that Diddy only rehired her in 2016 because Cassie wanted to work with her. This emotional display highlights the deep-seated pain and complicated loyalty Clark felt towards Diddy, despite her allegations against him. Under redirect examination by prosecutor Mitzi Steiner, Clark shed more light on the aftermath of her 2012 firing. Her settlement with Combs required mutual non-disparagement and a letter of recommendation from Diddy, a letter he never signed. Clark testified she couldn't get a job in the industry after that, stating she was blacklisted. While the judge struck that term from the record, Clark's testimony of not being able to find steady work in entertainment and resorting to consulting underscored her feeling that Diddy held all the power as it related to me. This explains her difficult decision to return to work for him in 2016, despite her previous experiences. Finally, Clark reiterated that even in her later role as Cassie's creative director, Diddy had immense control. He was required to approve all of Cassie's looks, every song, and every event she attended. Clark stated that Diddy would even withdraw his support when he and Cassie were fighting, emphasizing the extent of his alleged power over her career. With the conclusion of Capricorn Clark's redirect examination, her time on the witness stand officially ended. The jury was dismissed for the day, having heard a truly complex and often contradictory testimony, deeply impacted by the defense's vigorous cross-examination. Before leaving, Diddy's defense team again raised concerns about call restrictions at his prison, arguing they don't get enough time to speak with him after trial. Judge Aaron Subramanian promised to help find a solution, highlighting the ongoing logistical challenges of a high-profile defendant. Looking ahead, prosecutors have confirmed they plan to call 4 more witnesses tomorrow. This includes a Los Angeles Police Department officer, a Los Angeles Fire Department investigator, likely related to the Kid Cudi car fire, a person named Deontay Nash, and critically, a woman identified only as Mia, described as one of Sean Diddy Combs' former assistants and an alleged victim. This signals that the prosecution is far from finished, and we can expect more explosive testimony as they continue to build their racketeering case. Capricorn Clark's cross-examination has been nothing short of a roller coaster, exposing new facets of her relationship with Sean Diddy Combs and raising questions about every detail of her allegations. The defense's strategy was clear: to challenge her memory, her motivations, and the very foundation of her shocking claims. The text message, the discussions about returning to his team, the disputed details of the Kid Cudi incident, all combined to create a truly complex picture for the jury to consider. What are your thoughts after hearing these new details from Capricorn Clark's cross-examination? Do these new revelations change your perspective on her testimony or on the case against Diddy? Share your insights and theories in the comments below. Your perspective is invaluable to the C Trends community. To stay ahead of every single development in this monumental trial and to get the clearest, most direct breakdown of the facts, make sure you subscribe to C Trends right now and hit that notification bell. We are your dedicated source for the truth behind the biggest celebrity stories. And if you're hooked on this story or want to dive deeper into the alleged dark side of the music industry, we have more essential viewing for you on the channel. First, revisit the original allegations in our video, Diddy's Darkest Secrets, What Capricorn Clark Feared to Tell. Then, for a broader understanding of the racketeering charges, watch Diddy's Downfall, The Fear Behind His Empire's Collapse. And finally, for another look at how powerful figures face their accusers in court, check out Didn't Trial playlist on the channel homepage. You can find all these videos and more deep dives by clicking the links on your screen or visiting our channel page. Thank you for choosing C Trends, where we shine a light on the stories that demand attention. We'll see you in the next video.